Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching IRazRI, who plays on the North American server in his WZ-111-5A, that tier 10 Chinese heavy tank that just went into the game this patch. Now I know, I featured this vehicle already a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and I don't like to put the same tank again and again on the channel. I like to feature variety. That's something I definitely take into account when I'm thinking about what kind of a video I want to be putting out. But today has to be an exception, because this is, at least in my opinion, one of, if not the greatest tier 10 replays in the last 3 years. So we're going to be getting stuck in and enjoying IRazRI's masterclass, and you're going to be able to pick up a few tips and tricks, not specifically just in this tank, but also about thinking about how to handle situations. But more on that in a second. So IRazRI has found himself in a fairly nice matchup here on Halluf. He's got to deal with no tier 8 tanks, at least on the enemy team, that this vehicle really does exceptionally well against. And that's because the lower plate on this tank is fantastic, so much better than the 113. But the key strength that the 111-5A has over the 113 is the 7 degrees of gun depression, and we're going to be seeing IRazRI use them to the fullest here. Now he's taken up a defensive location that I love to venture to when I'm playing in my medium tanks, and any tank that I'd say has about, well, 7 or more degrees of gun depression can utilize this location. You get the whole of the ridge line that comes out towards the left that protects you from the enemy self-propelled guns. And other locations that heavies like to use will be, of course, this corner here. But the problem with this corner is that as soon as you try to poke around, you get engaged from this position here where the IS-7 is coming around, and also the enemy artillery is going to be dealing with you. Now the 111-5A, if for some reason you haven't watched those other couple of vehicles, has higher alpha damage than the 113. This tank packs 130mm with 490 alpha damage, but it doesn't lack any of the DPM, the great DPM that the 113 has. And as I mentioned, it's only really the FV215B and the T57 heavy that really get the damage out quicker at tier 10 heavy, which allows the WZ-111-5A to just really deal with its opponents very quickly indeed, as we're going to be seeing. Now you might be noticing that IRazRI has kind of paused in the combat here and he's looking behind him. And that's because the WZ-111-14, i.e. the tier 9 Chinese heavy tank and the predecessor to the 5A, is having a disagreement with this Object 704 who's behind him. They're exchanging some harsh words, to say the least. In fact, they're kind of basically telling each other to go and politely kill themselves, I think, and describing how they would want to do it to each other. Okay, that's not very nice, but let's be honest, the reason why this has happened is because the Object 704 is clearly frustrated that these 111-14s and the 5A are doing some really good work on this ridgeline and that he's not able to get any shots out. But really, I don't think this is the kind of position that you would want to be taking an Object 704 into. Now this STB-1 has made a really big mistake here. Doesn't look like he has a repair crew, and the excellent rate of fire on the 5A combined with this 111-14 to his right is more than enough to be able to lock that tier 10 medium tank in place and finish him off. Now IRazRI comes around the corner and hot shots the T10's lower plate, securing his first kill of the game and pushing his damage total now over to 3,600. Now, guess who's back? Mr. Object 704. And this guy is really showing himself to be a complete and utter moron right now, as he's pushing the 111-14 out into the open. Now look what IRazRI does. IRazRI now puts himself in the way of the 111-14, takes a shot into the back of the turret to be able to do so, and then he drives in front of the 111-14 and pushes the 111-14 backwards. And with combined power of these Chinese heavy tanks, the Object 704 isn't feeling too happy now. However, the 111-14 makes the age-old mistake of shooting someone who is blocking him, and the Object 704 returns fire, going blue. And because he went blue, that means that IRazRI can turn himself around and take out that stubborn Object 704 who was too much of a threat to his own team, and that's probably a very good decision by IRazRI to shut down that Object 704. Now, that actually means that IRazRI has killed 3 tanks in this game, 2 on the enemy team and 1 on his team. And of course, even though when you TK or damage a vehicle that is blue, there's no penalties applied to your account. And I'm not sure if you actually get a credit or an experience penalty. I don't think you do, but we'll check out that in the post-game stats. Or if I don't remember, at least you're going to be able to see yourself. But when you do TK someone who is blue, you still get -1 kills, I guess. So we're going to have to take that into account. Now IRazRI, while he tried to help out this WZ-111-14, he's now going to do something absolutely brilliant with it, and something that I hadn't anticipated. Now, I must highlight now he's firing his first heat ammunition this game with those last couple of shots at these mouse tanks. And yeah, I mean, like 250 millimeters of standard penetration on this gun is good, but it's not good enough to go through the front of those Tier 10 German super heavies. And IRazRI's using his ammunition intelligently here by loading these heat rounds to be able to give himself the best chance to take on these mouse. And they've got more than enough hit points. In fact, they've got 50% more hit points than him. So he's going to have to penetrate them a hell of a lot of times to be able to do so. But one thing that I absolutely love about this, and one thing I'd never thought, is what is the perfect cover for a vehicle? Well, how about the hull of another equal tank? The WZ-111-14's hull shape, I'm pretty sure, is the same as the 5A. If not, there are probably some minute differences. And by using the wreck of his ally that was effectively caused by the Object 704 on his team, or at least the disagreement that they had, he can now go hull down against these mouse. He fires clutch into the turret there, just hitting the lower right cheek. And now he's pushing his damage total closer towards the 7,000 mark. This is a fantastic game, but IRazRI has a hell of a lot more to do. And that's because his team is down by 4 tanks and there are quite healthy German super heavies in front of him. The IS-7 pushes around the corner. Great decision there to fire through the upper plate of the IS-7, as he did have a heat round loaded. If he'd fired at the side of the IS-7, it's likely that the tracks would have absorbed most of the penetration of the heat round and he would have been unable to go into him. But, I mean, looks like everybody's just firing premium these days, right guys? With that mouse just dumping in a premium round to the side of the 111 5A, but unable to go through his armor. Great result there. So it looks like sometimes just penetration alone, and should we say the hit points just not really working out for these mouse tanks here. And I don't expect this mouse thought that mouse would go down so easily. And now he's having dealt with one Tier 10 German, he's going to be able to go and handle the other. Except one heat round there, bouncing off the side of the mouse's thick side armor there. And the artillery splashes the mouse, and he's stunned for a little bit. Maybe that's going to allow IRazRI to get round the corner, slows down the reload of the mouse, and hopefully if that mouse turns his turret towards him, or if he's above him and shooting down on the cheeks, he's probably about a 50-50 to go through there, and indeed it does. But having dealt now with 2 Tier 10 German tanks, he's going to have to deal with another one, this time a tank destroyer, the Grille 15. And he puts his first round into him and it ricochets the Grille's 150mm main armament. And this is where having that extra DPM of the 111 5A just seems absolutely awesome. Way better than if, for example, you were in an IS-4, or if you were in, I guess, even a T10E5. This vehicle's got pretty much 10% better DPM than a T10E5. And the fact that the Grille's only got 1,800 hit points, and that he's not coming around the corner aggressively to deal with IRazRI right now, it looks like the hunter has become the hunted. And I like what IRazRI does there. He loads a high explosive round, a regular one, on his 3 key there to be able to finish off the Grille, because who knows how much of his ammunition he's going to need. And that shell on the Grille means that he dealt 100% damage, I believe, to that Tier 10 German tank destroyer, and pushes his damage total over 10,000 now. So in theory he's up to a top gun, but I think he's killed 7 tanks on the enemy team and 1 tank on his own team, although quite rightfully so, right? With that Object 704. But the game is not done yet, having just completely dominated that position with some really tight ridgeline work, perfect use of the correct ammunition, and even using the wrecks of allies that he tried to save to then position them where they could be still useful to his team to be able to win this game. Just absolutely brilliant stuff. When I saw that engagement, that's Heavy Tank 101. And if you can play like IRazRI did, well, you're going to have some fantastic results. But fantastic isn't going to be good enough to win this game. I've never done 10,000 damage in World of Tanks. I've come close a load of times. I've hit 9,000 lows and lows and lows, but never 10k. So IRazRI's already one up on me there. But he's got to do a lot more to be able to take this one down, because the Jagdtiger on the enemy team and the T30 are still rather healthy. Well, there we go. An armor-piercing round bouncing off the front of the T30 there. He has a bit of a shake of the mouse. Can you imagine the nerves that IRazRI must be feeling right now? In his comments in the post-game stats, he was saying how I think he was very nervous and very shaky during this gameplay. But 8 armor-piercing rounds, and oh gosh, the Jagdtiger's on 2,100 hit points. He's going to have to shoot him at least 4 times if he rolls high, but 5 times if he doesn't roll well to be able to shut him down. And when we take into account that he's only got 8 armor-piercing rounds, a heat round, and 2 high-explosive rounds left, and there are 4 tanks on the enemy team to deal with, this one's looking like it could be rather tricky indeed. So the Jagdtiger pushes on. The T10 takes a shot at the T30, and that's great for his team. Oh, sorry, yeah, the T10. And because the T30 missed, RAZR's going to use this opportunity to advance. The last thing he wants to do is to sit back there and allow the Jagdtiger to be able to cap out. Now, he's using these ridge lines, I believe, to avoid the artillery, but he's got to be careful because if the artillery is sitting up there, then he's going to be able to get a shot probably into the back of RAZR here, or at least hit that Object 704 on his team. RAZR misses around. Well, I think it just did some critical damage there to the T30, and now he has to pressure on. 1 minute left until the enemy team manages to cap out, and if he hangs around for too much longer, either the artillery is going to pressure him, maybe the RU-251 will go up and try and take him from the side, and unfortunately the M53-55 on the enemy team destroys the Object 704 who was supporting RAZR. Now, RAZR doesn't want to shoot that Jagdtiger. He clearly wants to kill the T30. Great choice. A Muppet there would have engaged the Jagdtiger and left the low health tank to still be able to turn around and put 750 alpha damage on him if he is using the top gun. Now, with 26 seconds left on the game, we can see RAZR's going to put an armor-piercing round right through the upper plate of the Jagdtiger there, and this is where, this is the dodgy moment. This is where your heart starts pounding. You're just praying the artillery misses you. The artillery actually manages to do 408 damage to the rear of the WZ-111-5A, because while this tank does have fantastic frontal hull armor and decent turret armor, its rear armor and its upper hull armor on top of the tank is really not very strong at all. Now, we saw a heat round there duck into the Jagdtiger's tracks. Who would have thought it? That was probably a 1 in 10 chance of the shell going almost the only place it could have gone to not be able to penetrate the tank. And the T10 finishes off the Jagdtiger. So now, 2 armor-piercing shells and 2 high-explosive shells. And the artillery shaves off another 221 hit points. Now he's down to 740. That means that the RU-251 is probably going to be able to 3-shot him. And God forbid the M53-55 gets a clean shot because he's going to be able to take him out in 2 hits. Or God forbid that he penetrates the upper hull deck of this tank. And then he'll be able to 1-shot RAZR, and what a heartbreak that would be. Having killed 8 tanks on the enemy team and 1 tank on his own team. He gets spotted, his 6th sense goes off. That means the RU-251 must be hanging around in this kind of an area, probably in these bushes that we see along here. Alternatively, maybe he's made his way up along here. It's going to be hard to dig out this tier 9 German light tank with fantastic camo. He could be anywhere right now, but with only 2 minutes and 17 seconds left on the game, how long can RAZR wait? Surely a draw will not be good enough for him now. Even if he's over 12,000 damage, he wants to play for the win, and that's what I love about RAZR's gameplay here. He's going to put it all out on the table to see if he can take this one down. Now, 6th Sense will be clearly extra useful for him now. He should be able to eliminate the kind of positions that the RU is going to be in, and the fact that he hasn't been spotted now strongly suggests to me that the RU is probably more in this kind of an area on the map. He's going to make his way up towards the cap. Now that the 1 minute and 40 seconds mark passes, it's not going to be enough to cap this one. He's not going to be able to cap it by himself, and there's no chance that T10 is going to make it towards the cap circle in time. But oh gosh, the M53-55 shuts down the T10, and now RAZR finds himself in a 1 versus 2 situation. But would you believe it? The RU-251, it looks like he's either sitting there, or maybe he's just AFK. Oh gosh, that's not good news for RAZR, because the M53-55 now knows where he's going to be approaching him from. And the M53-55 might be able to dump a shell over this ridgeline. Now, there's 2 high explosive rounds remaining into the side of the turret. Okay, this is just getting nerve-wracking. 13,590 damage done. 9 kills on the enemy team, 1 kill on his own team, and a single high explosive round remaining in his vehicle. And it's a good thing it's a high explosive round, because there is 640 alpha damage, and the M53-55 has got 450 hit points. He has to hit him here. He's directly above him. The M53-55 hits him, but luckily the final shell goes in, securing a Faden's medal and taking down one of the best tier 10 carries I have ever seen in World of Tanks. So holy mother of carries here for IRazRI, and he is justly rewarded. He picks up a Pools medal for killing 10 tanks on the enemy team and 1 douchebag on his own team, a Faden's medal for killing the last remaining vehicle with his final round of ammunition, a Defender medal for protecting the cap circle, a Steel Wall for ricocheting how much damage? 4,630, in addition to the High Caliber medal, and this is one of the greatest high caliber medals of all time. 14,040 damage dealt in this single round of World of Tanks. And just check out that base experience points, 1,906, just absolutely astonishing at tier 10. And interestingly enough, IRazRI still makes a profit without running a premium account at tier 10. And if he'd had a premium account, he would have made 60,000 credits profit this game. And you know what? I simply can't be having that. IRazRI, I'm going to be sending you 30 days of premium time as a gift from myself. And so enjoy it, buddy. And just a massive thank you, IRazRI, for uploading your glorious game on What Replays, and also thanks for putting my name in the title to be able to get my attention. And congratulations on achieving what I think is one of the greatest rounds of World of Tanks, at least at tier 10 of all time. And so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. I'd really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments down below, what is the highest amount of damage you have dealt in a single game of World of Tanks, and which vehicle did you use? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.